Breakthrough. Supreme. Existence. Hanju wasn't confused by his Tao heart's question. From the beginning to the end, he was very determined. I won't especially do anything. Instead, I'll do whatever I want. Since I'm invincible, why set up rules for myself? Hanju replied. The other him nodded in satisfaction. A true invincible person should be unrestrained. There were no rules, strength, morals, or other restrictions. The other asked, will you continue cultivating? Yes, I will constantly climb higher and higher. I won't consolidate my status by suppressing the juniors. Hanju smiled confidently. He would be numb sooner or later as long as he lost his ambition. During the primordial era, had anyone ever thought that several Tao creators would appear? The other him, which was formed by his Tao heart, dissipated like smoke, leaving only a sentence. The Creator Lord realm is ahead. I wish you success. In the blank domain, various gaseous substances of different colors moved faster. Hanju could suddenly spy on the chaos. Time passed extremely quickly in the chaos. A second here was a million years outside. Hanju saw Han Huang attack and shock the chaos, bringing despair to it. Then, he sent out primordial despair and slaughtered wantonly. Seeing that the chaos was about to be defeated, the ninth chaos made a move. Other than Zhao Shuangquan and Yu Yuan, 6 more chaos revived. In addition to his clone, the 9 chaos attacked together to suppress the primordial chaos. At the critical moment, primordial origin attacked to reinforce Han Huang. The 2 primordial fiend celestials joined forces to resist the 9 chaos. The 9th chaos couldn't withstand the pressure and began to personally interfere with the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Hanju frowned. Could this be one of the tests? Hanju's eyes became firm. No one could interfere and burden him. The 9th chaos could revive all living beings. In the chaos, why couldn't he revive his children and disciples if he became a creator lord? Han Huang would definitely die in this great Tao immeasurable calamity without his help. Not only Han Huang, but also the personal disciples who supported him. And disciples. His mind had been firm and selfish ever since. He was weak. He would only help those close to him if he could. If he could not, he would only care about himself. Hanju had a clear conscience as he looked at everyone around him. He didn't owe anyone anything, including his wife and children. If not for him, how could they reach this level? Lord! Hanju's eyes became arrogant and confident. As this arrogance rose, the chi-shaped substances along the way surged towards him, forging his body. His body dissipated, leaving only his soul to advance. All sorts of lights overflowed from his soul. Dazzling! He could clearly feel his soul transforming. He felt a power that was higher than the supreme rules of the great Tao world. This feeling was extremely strange. After walking for an unknown period of time, Hanju's soul strength reached the extreme. This was unprecedentedly powerful, making him excited. His soul stopped when it couldn't take it anymore. There were still densely packed chi-shaped substances ahead. They were still so dazzling, as if he had never stepped forward. Hanju raised his right palm and muttered, "The Creator Lord controls everything. Nothing can stop him. In that case, I'll see if my strength is enough." Boom! He struck out with his palm. It was the divine. The extreme destructive power directly shattered everything in front of him. This blank domain shattered like a mirror. Absolute paleness entered his vision again. He shattered the rules of the blank domain. with a paw. At this moment, Hanju had already surpassed the Creator Lord. His body condensed again and began to fuse with his soul. The ultimate origin power began to transform. A pillar of light shot out from his body. There was no end to it above or below, as if it was splitting the blank domain into two. His aura soared with unstoppable force. Hanju was immersed. A figure appeared near him at this moment. It was the ninth chaos. How is that possible? The ninth chaos shouted in shock. Hanju felt that he was too noisy. With a glance, he destroyed the ninth chaos body and soul. Even the remaining transcendent rule insignia in every corner of the blank domain perished. In other words, the ninth chaos had directly perished. Just a glance. He couldn't resist at all. This glance used the power of the rules of the blank domain, so the ninth chaos transcendent rule hidden in every corner of the blank domain had nowhere to hide and thus died. The difference between a Tao creator and a creator lord was immediately revealed. Hanju was calm and continued to enjoy the breakthrough. Not long after, the formless transcendent deity and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity appeared. They looked at Hanju in shock. He didn't attack these two subordinates. The formless transcendent deity said helplessly, "Why didn't you appear earlier?" Back then, the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Hanju already knew that even though he seemed to have broken through very quickly, a long time had actually passed. The great Tao immeasurable calamity had already ended for a long time, so long that all living beings in the endless era had already forgotten the chaos. Apart from his wives and children who stayed in Hanju's Tao field, Han Huang, Ji Xianshen, Murongqi, and the others had all died in the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Han Ling, Han Yi, Han Yao, and Han Bahen survived because they supported the chaos. All of this was very similar to the future that Hanju had deduced. Hanju indifferently said, "There's still time. You can leave." The formless transcendent deity and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity looked at each other in confusion. Could it be that Hanju wanted to reverse space-time? However, this was the great Tao immeasurable calamity. It was independent of space and time. The supreme karma could not be reversed. Although they were puzzled, they had no choice but to leave. Hanju grew quiet again and began to consolidate his cultivation in peace. This time, it took much longer to consolidate his cultivation. Another person arrived after an unknown period of time. It was Han Ling. She emitted endless divine light. She was even more holy than the former Holy Mother of Order. She looked at Hanju and said respectfully, "Father, you're indeed still here." The pillar of light on Hanju's body was extremely dazzling. That terrifying power made Han Ling instinctively afraid. She was shocked. How strong was her father? Hanju glanced at her and said, "It's been hard on you all these years." "Father." All sorts of emotions surged into Han Ling's heart, making her feel a long-awaited grievance. She wanted to say something else, but she left silently upon seeing that Hanju was busy breaking through. Too many things had happened, pulling her away from her father. Hanju understood her but didn't say anything. He could turn everything into an illusion and reconstruct the past when he successfully broke through. After a long time, you have obtained the Dominator Supreme Treasure Dominator Brush. Dominator brush, Dominator supreme treasure, a transcendent supreme treasure higher than an ultimate supreme treasure. It is condensed from the origin rule and contains the supreme power to define and dominate everything. It is only subordinate to the Creator Lord. The Tao field has begun to upgrade. Notifications appeared in front of Hanju. Dominator brush? Not bad, it suited his style. Hanju checked his attributes panel. Name, Hanju. Lifespan, 457890823。时照零2999亿9999万9999，999照9999亿9999万9999万9999，999照9999亿9999万。Race, Ultimate Origin Fiend Celestial. Immeasurable Lord. Cultivation, Creator Lord Realm. Technique, Primordial Chaos Reincarnation. Great Tao, Creator Lord, Heavenly Cycle. Body Tempering Technique. Great Tao of Extreme Origin. 3000 Great Tao. Constitution, Extreme Tao Ultimate Origin Body. His lifespan stopped when he was expected of the Creator Lord Realm. His origin. Lifespan stopped flowing when he broke through. In fact, countless years had passed in the chaos. Even the endless era had stabilized. It could be seen that this creation was truly magical. Hanju sensed his cultivation and asked in his mind, is the system's calculation of lifespan independent? That's right. It only calculates origin lifespan, and not relative lifespan. Hanju had no intention of asking anymore. With a thought, he returned to the Taoist temple of the third Tao field. The auras of the Tao companions were still there, other than Liao. Hanju sat on the lotus throne and looked down at the endless era. The endless era was indeed exciting. A new Tao creator appeared after the great Tao immeasurable calamity ended. It was Zhao Shuangquan. This was normal. After all, the ninth chaos had personally participated in the battle. However, all of this was meaningless in front of the Creator Lord. Hanju muttered, "Ninth chaos, I still want to fight you for real. In that case, let's return to square one." With that, everything in the endless era stopped. The operating planet stopped. The endless river of destiny no longer surged. The bright sun no longer burned. Yin and yang no longer spun. The figures traveling through the various space-time voids all stopped. Be it the past, the present, or the future, as Hanju had this thought, everything stopped. Immediately after, all the scenes began to replay. Hanju directly returned everything to before his will traveled in the blank domain. The great Tao immeasurable calamity was still ongoing. The ninth chaos was still alive. His children and disciples were still alive. This was a true change, not the creation of an alternate spacetime. Everything that had happened before did not exist. No one even knew that Hanju had broken through. The ninth chaos didn't know, either. The corners of his mouth curled up as he smiled playfully. Chaos, how are you going? To fight me? What could a Tao creator do to a creator? Lord! However, Hanju was interested in playing with the ninth chaos. At this moment, the chaos was still in a chaotic battle. Han Huang had yet to make a move. Thinking about it carefully, the great Tao immeasurable calamity had just begun. Hanju didn't plan to end everything directly. He had enough confidence to act recklessly now. From this life onwards, Hanju was never passive when fighting the enemy. Every time he attacked, he definitely had the confidence to kill the other party. Hanju might have been able to defeat the eyes. Hanju took out the Dominator brush. This was a brush printed with 7 colored Tao runes. The brush head was connected to the power of the 3000 Great Tao. The body of the brush was condensed from the basic rules of the blank domain. This brush could create and destroy everything. A non-creator lord would be reduced to ashes upon touching this brush. A Tao creator might be able to revive, but a Great Tao Supreme wouldn't even have a chance to revive. In other words, he could crush a Great Tao Supreme if he threw the Dominator brush directly into the chaos. Hanju played with the Dominator brush and felt its power. Transcendent Domain. In a mysterious space, the Formless woke up. Transcendent Deity suddenly. What's going on? What did it feel like just now? The Great Tao immeasurable calamity? The Formless Transcendent Deity muttered to himself. He felt inexplicably uneasy, but he couldn't deduce his feelings. Just now. Perhaps because the situation of the chaos made him anxious, the chaotic consciousness and Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable chose to support the ninth chaos. The clones created by the two sides couldn't. It was unknown what he was thinking. When would he make a move? At this moment, he suddenly felt a powerful aura. Han Huang. This power is already infinitely close to the Tao Creator realm. Unfortunately, its essence has not changed. The formless transcendent deity side. As a Tao Creator, he could see very clearly that Han Huang had taken the wrong path. He was in the third Tao field. The 9 divine stars returned. Hanju's clone placed them in the Tao field. They immediately came to his Taoist temple and knelt down, waiting for him to summon them. The door opened and the 9 divine stars entered the temple. They knelt down respectfully. Han Zhongdao waved his hand and released the was in an extremely sorry state. He opened his eyes and was stunned when he saw Han Ju. Hanju's appearance stunned him. In a daze, he seemed to see Han Ling. Whoosh! The ultimate origin Fian celestial soul. The 9 divine stars were stunned. Hanju, who was checking his emails, raised his eyebrows. The ultimate origin Fian celestial soul condensed again. He had to restrain the power of the Creator. Lord's divinity. No living being could profane the Creator. Lord, much less stare at him for long. The 9 divine stars had long developed manners. They only glanced at Hanju before lowering their heads, so they didn't feel anything. The revived ultimate origin fiend celestial was still in shock and didn't dare to look at him anymore. What's going on? Who is he? Did I die just now? The ultimate origin fiend celestial recalled the terrifying feeling just now. He had never felt such terrifying suffocation. Despair filled his heart and could not go away. Hanju didn't disperse the 9 divine stars. Instead, He looked down at the ultimate origin fiend celestial and said, "The ultimate origin fiend celestial is me. You're only formed by a trace of ultimate origin chi left behind when I created the ultimate origin world, but you want to steal my name. What punishment do you deserve for this crime?" The ultimate origin fiend celestial shivered, not knowing how to answer. His name was his pride. If it was anyone else, he would definitely be furious and risk his life to protect his dignity. However, he only had endless fear and no courage in front of Chu. Ultimate origin fiend celestial? So there really was an ultimate origin fiend celestial. Just as the ultimate origin fiend celestial was about to be frightened to death, Hanju changed the topic and said, "On account of our relationship, from now on your name will be Hanzhong Yuan and you will join the 9 divine stars to serve me. How about that?" The pressure that terrified the ultimate origin fiend celestial immediately vanished. The ultimate origin fiend celestial felt relieved and hurriedly said, "I'm willing. I'm willing." At this point, the ultimate origin fiend celestial changed its name to Hanzhong Yuan and the 9 divine stars became the 10 divine stars. Hanju took out 9 chaotic supreme treasures and rewarded them to the 9 divine stars. These Dharma treasures were originally ordinary Dharma treasures. They were modified by him with the power of a dominator and instantly became chaotic supreme treasures. The 9 divine stars were pleasantly surprised. They hurriedly thanked him and left with Hanzhong Yuan. As for Hanzhong Yuan, there was no need for Hanju to reward him. Letting him join the divine stars was already a huge opportunity. Hanju continued to read the emails. Shawnee came to visit not long after. He looked at Hanju and felt a little embarrassed. Hanju understood his thoughts and took out the Book of Misfortune. Shawnee was shocked when he saw this book. Could it be? He did not dare to ask. Hanju didn't explain, other than being interesting, the identity of the dark Forbidden Lord was meaningless to him now. Furthermore, Shawnee didn't dare to say it. Shawnee obtained the supreme treasure and left happily. Hanju came to Xing Hongshuang's Taoist temple after reading the emails. There were only 2 people in the temple. Xing Hongshan was naturally happy and immediately came over. "I'm already invincible." Hanju's first sentence stunned Xing Hongshan. He was invincible so quickly? Even Xing Hongshan, who was confident in Hanju, was shocked. Hanju threw the space-time he had erased into Xing Hongshuang's mind. She saw the great Tao immeasurable calamity without Hanju's help. She saw the 9th chaos and the formless transcendent deity. She saw the 9th chaos being glared to death by Hanju and saw Hanling's grievance and stubbornness. Long time when she recalled all her memories. It was as if she had lived another life. She felt like it was a dream when she suddenly looked back. A future without her husband was really terrifying. Xing Hongshan suddenly woke up and patted her chest. She said fearfully, "Fortunately, I didn't listen to the other sisters. Otherwise, I would have died too." Damn it, who is that mysterious transcendent existence? Hanju smiled. The 9th chaos, the existence who created the chaos. Remember, don't say his name, or he will notice. Xing Hongshan asked, "Aren't you already invincible? Why are you still caring about him?" "I want to fight him. Before that, don't disturb him." "What's the chance of winning? As you can see, he dies if I want him to." "No." Perhaps this was him. Previously, it was only because he was not strong enough that he suppressed his nature. Xing Hongshan recalled Hanju's attitude when facing a powerful enemy and overlapped it with his current self. She thought of her first encounter with Han Ju when she was young. At that time, she took interest in him because of his handsomeness. She didn't expect to obtain such a huge opportunity. Looking back, Xing Hongxian was suddenly filled with pride. She had good judgment. Unlike other women, she was the first to like Hanju and pestered him. No matter what, she didn't leave Hanju. She had always believed in him firmly and helped him. This was also the reason why he treated her the best. Xing Hongxian and Hanju could see through the essence of some things, but they Hongxian. Xing Hongxian suddenly asked excitedly, "Do I not have to cultivate anymore?" Hanju raised his hand and took out the Dominator brush. He waved it at her, and a mark entered her body. From today onwards, anyone below the Tao Creator realm will die as you wish. Therefore, control your thoughts. As for the Tao creators, they can't kill you. Hanju spoke calmly, but Xing Hongxian was inexplicably nervous. The human heart was extremely sinister. Xing Hongxian also had her own dark side. She was afraid that a thought from her would destroy the chaos. She had to be careful in the future. Xing Hongxian asked curiously, "What realm are you at now? Did you surpass the Tao Creator realm?" Hanju smiled. "Don't ask. Leave some." Xing Hongxian hurriedly promised, "I won't tell anyone." She smiled proudly and rolled up her sleeves. "Husband, I want to go out for a walk and test how invincible I am." Hanju rubbed her head and smiled. "Go!" "No, there's no hurry. Let me experience the invincible power first." "How?" Husband only knows how to pretend. You definitely understand what I mean. Then I'll let you experience it. Several hundred years later, Xing Hongxian left the third Tao field, and Hanju began to preach the Tao to the disciples of the third Tao field. He deliberately controlled himself, but the disciples were still reborn. After the lecture, Hanju visited the other Tao companions one by one. Fairy Xixian asked curiously, "Why did Xing Hongxian go out alone? What's the matter?" Hanju smiled. "She wants to mess around." "Nonsense. You'll know later." Hanju left after interacting with Fairy Xixian for a few decades. He decided to take a walk. From now on, cultivating for hundreds of millions of years would not affect him much. His cultivation in the future would definitely be extremely long. Hanju hid his identity. Even the Tao creators couldn't deduce it. He prepared to release his malice and experience a different life from mortals. He prepared to magnify his various emotions one by one. It happened to be the great Tao immeasurable calamity. It was fine to let it be more chaotic. Hanju first came to Shetian's domain and landed in a world. The divine light on his body retracted and transformed into an ordinary face. He walked around aimlessly and killed anyone he disliked. In just 10,000 years, Hanju gained a terrifying reputation. From mortals to the great Tao Supremes, he killed anyone he didn't like and was called the killing god Shetian. No one knew why killing god Shetian killed for no reason. It was as if he was born bloodthirsty. As he killed, Hanju's hatred increased. The various factions in the Shetian domain, who were originally supporting the chaos, had no choice but to return and besiege him. Shetian's clone also descended and blocked his path. "Who sent you?" The immeasurable destruction venerable was majestic and domineering. Space shook the moment he appeared. Hanju ignored him and continued forward. The immeasurable destruction venerable was furious. He suddenly flashed in front of Han Ju and struck out with his palm. Hanju's eyes narrowed. Immeasurable destruction venerable's body and soul were directly destroyed. The great Tao Supremes and great Tao sages, who rushed over from all directions, immediately stopped in fear and looked at him in disbelief. Hanju, who had released the malice in his heart, felt annoyed upon seeing the figures standing at the end of the void in all directions. He waved his right hand, and the bodies and souls of those figures were all destroyed. They didn't even have time to scream. These ancient giants who controlled the world in Shurtion's domain were helpless in front of Hanju. It was boring. Hanju was neither happy nor sad as he continued forward. He prepared to travel the various great Tao worlds and kill. His ferocious reputation became stronger and stronger. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable sent you a dream. Do you accept? Hanju ignored the notification and continued forward. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable was furious. He wanted to ignore his reputation and forcefully move Hanju out. However, he failed. Impossible. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable was moved and instantly guessed the other party's identity. Tao Creator. However, the other party's aura was unfamiliar to him. He couldn't see through it and could not deduce its origin at all. This was different from the feeling brought by the ninth chaos, the divine might heavenly sage, the chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity. Furthermore, doing this Dark Forbidden Lord? Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable was shocked by his guess. If it was really the Dark Forbidden Lord, he was not someone he could deal with. He immediately went to find the ninth chaos. A huge tree stood on a floating land in the depths of the blank domain. There were many branches and every leaf had a space-time dimension that seemed to be covered in water droplets. The ninth chaos meditated quietly under the tree. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable had just left. The ninth chaos dispersed the mist and revealed his true body. His figure was human, but his face was extremely strange. His skin was pale and bloodless. He had no facial features. The slightly raised part of his face looked like his mouth and nose. His waterfall-like long hair scattered behind his black robe. A shadow appeared. It looked extremely similar to the ninth chaos. He stared at it and more chaotic. Another Tao creator has appeared. The situation is not good. This shadow was the first chaos will. The ninth chaos sighed. My cultivation level can't increase. I need an opportunity if I want to break through. Logically speaking, I can directly break through to a higher realm after reaching the perfected minor realm, but I failed. If the endless era still doesn't work, there might not be a higher realm at all. The first chaos was silent. After a long while, the first chaos asked again, how can you clean up the mess if there's no higher realm? Tao creators can't kill each other. Then, we can only use the great Tao immeasurable calamity to suppress them. If even I can't break through, it's impossible for divine might to break through. He's too young. The other Tao creators have already reached the end. What makes me feel threatened are the Dark Forbidden Lord and Divine Might's Tao field. The Dark Forbidden Lord only dares to curse, which means that he's not strong enough. Divine Might's Tao field can isolate my prying. Furthermore, I can't barge in. There's actually such an existence. I can't figure it out. The ninth chaos had witnessed Hanju transmigrating from the eighth chaos to the reincarnation of the current chaos and could confirm that he had no deeper background. Therefore, he thought that the Tao field was a supreme treasure and not a manifestation of Hanju's strength. It was as if a sage felt that it was impossible for a mortal without an illustrious previous life to attain the Tao at birth. The first chaos didn't say anything else. He could only believe the ninth chaos. If even the ninth chaos could not see through it, he naturally could not resolve the problem. Primordial chaos. Xing Hongshan rode a cloud and landed in front of a hall. 3 words were carved on the plaque of the palace. Mingji Palace. Finished speaking, figures appeared and surrounded her. These were all Goddess Mingji's personal guards. The primordial cultivators who belonged to Han Huang did not dare to stop her, so they let her in. Wait. Goddess Mingji's voice floated over and stopped the personal guards who were about to attack. The door to Mingji Palace opened and the dignified Goddess Mingji walked over. The personal guards made way for the 2 women. Goddess Mingji said expressionlessly, "I should call you mother. Now that I'm married to my husband, we're naturally family. Mother, are you still calculative about the past? Kill me? Don't you feel awkward calling me mother now? Then what do you want?" "I want to kill you too." "Hee hee, do you have the ability? Let's go." "I won't pursue this matter on account of my husband. The marriage has to be approved by the parents. Have we agreed to this marriage?" Can you control my husband?" "I can't control him, but I can control you." Quickly turned white. Her skin shriveled and her vitality flowed out extremely quickly. Goddess Mingji's eyes widened and she tried to mobilize her dermic powers. She wanted to stop the abnormality in her body, but she failed. The surrounding personal guards were also shocked. Goddess Mingji was a great Tao sage. How could she be so easily affected? They didn't even see how the other party did it. Xing Hongshan smiled proudly. "Will Huanger still like you if I make you lose your 10 million years of beauty?" With that, she turned around and left. "Catch her!" Goddess Mingji shouted crazily. The personal guards used their mystical powers one after another. They didn't dare to approach and wanted to suppress Xing Hongshan remotely. However, they were suddenly reduced to ashes just as they made their move, their bodies and souls destroyed. Xing Hongshan didn't say anything and left. Goddess Mingji was stunned when she saw this. Xing Hongshan was not so terrifying the last time she fought the heavenly Tao. She even felt that Xing Hongshan was even more terrifying than her husband. She was unfathomable and unstoppable. Why was this happening? In Shurtian's domain, Hanju was suddenly tired of it as he swept around and killed countless unpleasant living beings. He retracted his malice and began to magnify his kindness. Thereafter, he wandered around Shurtian's domain again. He would help whenever he encountered unfair and unjust things. From the great Tao Supremes to the mortals, he no longer killed. Even when facing the perpetrator, he only warned and taught them a lesson. Year after year passed. Millions of years passed quickly. Hanju's actions in Shurtian spread to all living beings. He was called a virtuous sage. Living beings in Shurtian. Statues of him were erected in all worlds. Hanju came to the palace where Shurtian's clone was. Shurtian's clone had nearly 800 trillion years of strength. Previously, the immeasurable destruction Venerable had been destroyed by Hanju. In order to maintain the situation, Shurtian's immeasurable destruction Venerable had no choice but to create a new one. This clone was still named Immeasurable Destruction Venerable. Now, tell me, should I kill or help Shirtian? Hanju's voice floated into the ears of the immeasurable destruction venerable, startling him so much that he opened his eyes. He immediately stood up in fear upon seeing him. Dark Forbidden Lord? Immeasurable destruction venerable asked in a low voice, pretending to be calm. Even his main body panicked when facing the Dark Forbidden Lord. This was an existence that had cursed the ninth chaos to develop mental demons. How could he not panic? Hanju asked, answer my question. Immeasurable destruction venerable was silent. He didn't understand what he meant. Was he humiliating him? Hanju stared at him with a calm gaze. The calmer it was, the less confident immeasurable destruction venerable became. The difference in strength between them was too great. Immeasurable destruction venerable didn't even have a chance to escape. Immeasurable destruction venerable gritted his teeth and said, you saved Shirtian's living beings. They should be grateful to you. Although you have sinned, your contributions outweigh your mistakes. Hanju smiled and asked, sincere? That's right, immeasurable destruction venerable said helplessly. He had no choice but to bow his head. Even Tao creators didn't dare to act recklessly in the face of existences stronger than them. Perhaps the Tao creator would not die, but Hanju could threaten his great Tao world. Hanju shook his head and laughed before disappearing. Immeasurable destruction venerable was even more nervous. He looked at Shirtian, afraid that Hanju would destroy him. However, Shirtian was calm, and he couldn't find Hanju anymore. Dark Forbidden Lord, what do you want? Immeasurable destruction venerable frowned in confusion. What was the deeper meaning of that question? Hanju continued to wander in the chaos. After leaving Shirtian, his actions in Shirtian were only to release his nature. Everyone had a bad side and a good side to them. Mortals promoted the good path to protect themselves. How could invincible people decide their own good and evil? This was a question that Hanju was curious about. After this, he lost interest in killing and felt that it was meaningless. As for benefiting all living beings, it was even more meaningless. All living beings couldn't spy on the truth of the long years. They were only a fragment of time and were all concerned about themselves. Even if they knew that the virtuous sage was the killing god, they could not change anything. They might even feel that it did not matter. From a later point of view, as long as the sins of history did not affect them, they could ignore the sin. It was worth celebrating as long as they benefited in the past and brought them a good life. From this point of view, good and evil was only suitable for mortals and for those with similar strength levels. Facing power that surpassed this level, they still had to return to the point where the strong were respected and the strong preyed on the weak. Hanju thought as he moved forward. How to plan for everything in existence was something he, an invincible person, should consider. He didn't want everything he knew to be like this forever. That would be too boring. Suppression was not feasible. Just like the ninth chaos, suppressing the development of the chaos did not consolidate his status forever. Perhaps a fortuitous encounter like the system would appear in the future. Who could predict it? Hanju could control everything, but the basic rule power of the blank domain was on par with him. This power might give birth to a new creation in the future. The battle between the primordial chaos and the chaos erupted again when Hanju left Shi. Tian. Han Huang made a move. He suddenly descended to the highest battlefield and reversed the situation. Forcefully suppressing the chaos, everyone below the Great Tao Sage realm died. Some early and mid-stage Great Tao Sages even had their bodies and souls destroyed. Han Huang was ruthless. Previously, the Great Tao sages would leave a way out when they fought. To put it bluntly, the Great Tao sages on both sides treated the Great Tao immeasurable calamity as a trial and not a battle of life and death. Humph, that's enough. Two Great Tao world lords appear. Han Huang, who was like a war god, looked down at the chaos and smiled disdainfully. With that, the clones of the immeasurable destruction venerable and the chaotic consciousness appeared behind him. All of you, retreat. Although I don't know why you support the primordial chaos, I want to personally deal with them. Han Huang frowned and glanced coldly at the two Tao creator clones behind him. The formless transcendent deity only smiled. He looked at Han Huang as if he was looking at a junior, so he did not care. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity was very unhappy, but he was absolutely loyal to Han Zhu and didn't dare to refute. How arrogant! Immeasurable destruction venerable was furious. He was suppressed by the dark forbidden lord and could vent his anger on Han Huang. The three of them were already at the half-step creation realm. They were naturally terrifying when they fought. The entire chaotic space began to shake and the 3,000 Great Tao shattered one after another. Even Han Zhu, who was far away on the other side of the chaos, saw the surrounding space tear apart. Han Zhu would not act before the ninth chaos made a move after another. Countless wandering living beings appeared in the chaos. This was a dark era. All living beings didn't know the battle of the Great Tao sages. They could only feel the suffering. Millions of years later, Han Zhu's origin lifespan had already reached 470 million years, and he had accumulated another 2 creation heavens chosen attempts. He could give the creation of mortals, but that origin world. The stronger he was, the more impressive the creation heavens chosen was. Han Zhu could already sense the existence of the system after he became a creator lord. It was like a mark that was imprinted on his dominator origin. He could strip it away. He felt that there was no need. The current system was like a dharma. But treasure. He couldn't abandon a dharma treasure just because it was powerful. Moreover, Han Zhu and the system were more like partners. They strengthened each other, and he still wanted to go further. The system was formed by the creation will of the blank domain. After countless enhancements from the inheritors, it was finally where it was today. It was essentially a creation rule, just like the innate great creation of his descendants. It only existed in a way that Han Zhu was familiar with in his previous life. The game system was easier for him to accept, understand, and master. Unknowingly, Han Zhu arrived at a corner of the chaos. There was an extremely huge tree here that connected countless space-time dimensions. It was regarded as a forbidden land by all living beings. Fusang Divine Tree. This was the Fusang tree that Han Zhu had once nurtured. It left him in order to. She had transformed after all these years with the primordial ancestor god's help. However, no matter where she went, the power that controlled space and time would follow, causing many worlds to collapse. She had even been expelled by the supreme rules and had no choice but to return to her true form. Han Zhu regained his original appearance and approached the Fusang tree. He shed his divine light. Because his cultivation realm was too high, the sleeping Fusang tree didn't sense his arrival. "How are you?" Han Zhu asked. With that said, the leaves of the Fusang tree began to tremble, causing countless past and future space-time to tremble. "Master, why are you here?" "The Fusang." "No. The high and mighty Fusong tree was as nervous as a mortal meeting an immortal.